Yo, look, guys, if you're planning on moving down to Albuquerque, New Mexico, here in the next couple of months, there is a few things that you're going to want to know before you make that move. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the do's and don'ts of moving down to Albuquerque. Let's go. All right, guys, have you ever done a purchase online and then when you get it home, you've been waiting so long for it and it's not what you expected? I run into this case a lot with a lot of different people when we are talking about Albuquerque, right? Because you're getting all this great information from the internet and sometimes it misses the mark. So a couple things that you're going to want to do before you move down here. You're going to want to do your market research, right? You're going to want to know what areas you're in, what the price points are, what the houses look like, what's around you, what amenities are going to make sense to have near you, right? How close is your job, grocery shopping, just shopping in general, restaurants, stuff like that. Whatever it is that appeals to you is going to make sense if you are living in that area, right? And you're going to want to get with a real estate agent to help you out with that. And I got to remind you guys that if this is your first time tuning into the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. Do yourself a huge favor and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom, because if you are planning on moving down here pretty soon, you're going to want to watch every video that we drop every week talking about what this great city has to offer. Now, aside from doing these videos, guys, I got to remind you that we are licensed brokers here in the state of New Mexico, and me and my team are ready to help you guys out with that move. If you are planning on doing that within the next 30, 60, or 90 days, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to reach out at any time. That way we can help you out, get on a quick Zoom call, and give you as much information as possible. But let's get to the next topic. All right, now, another great thing that I really want to bring up is that you got to visit before you move down here, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And with New Mexico still being very fresh and new to a lot of people in the United States, we were just having a conversation with one of our friends earlier, and they said that a lot of people from the East Coast don't realize that we're still in the United States. Even me, when I moved out to New York, they asked me if I had to get my passport and everything in line before even visiting over there. So pretty funny that, hey, sometimes we do still get forgotten about, but that's why you got to come and visit. Because before we actually make the move, you want to know what area you're moving to, what the houses look like, price points, amenities, restaurants, all that stuff, right? Because it's going to be important to your lifestyle. And that's why this visit down here is going to be super important before you make any decision, right? And we've had plenty of clients do that. Shoot, tomorrow we're even going out to show one of our buyers that's moving down from Utah. She's an educator, and she said, I know nothing about Albuquerque, but it's centrally located to both my family in Texas and California, and it's a lot closer than what Utah is. So I want to make sure that, number one, I get a feel for the vibe and what's going on down there, make some connections, and then possibly look at some houses, because I want to know about the house that I'm moving into and the area, right? And I want to make my own assumptions on my own time, not feeling super rushed, especially once I get that job transfer going, because everything is just going to be snowballing and moving so fast. So I highly recommend it to you guys. Take a trip down here. I think we got great resources like this New Mexico True that just tells you where all the best spots to eat at, where all the local attractions are at, and even some hidden ones where if they don't get discussed a lot, then you got to be a local to enjoy them. All right, guys, topic number 3, and you just got to start embracing the culture and really participating when you move down here. Like, really go out there, really enjoy the events that's always happening, right? The ones that the city puts on, even down to some of the local vendors that get together to put all these pretty cool little pop-up events together, because you just don't know who you're gonna meet. And with the Hispanic and Native American culture being very big down here, it's always this sense of like belonging and family, right? Because we really don't care where you're coming from. I know you hear me say this all the time if you watch these videos every week, but we just really want to make you feel welcome, right? Like, you're coming into our house, you didn't have to, you chose us. Like, we're super appreciative of you coming down here to really embrace our culture. And then if you really taken a sense of appreciation for what we have down here, like even down to the old school mindset and just kind of changing your life, because man, it doesn't really affect you if you don't want to, but really understanding that, man, if I just start really like living like a New Mexican, like land of mañana kind of thing, and really slowing down, this life thing gets a lot easier and a lot enjoyable, right? Because again, when you're going to these events, you'll see it, guys, and I recommend that you hardly participate in it, whether you're volunteering or you're just going out to show support and some love and purchasing something from a local vendor. They're gonna be super appreciative of you. They're gonna thank you and really make you feel like, man, I've known this person forever. That's the Albuquerque vibe for the most part. I know there's some rotten apples there, right? I can't say that we're totally perfect, but for the majority, that's the type of vibe you're gonna be dealing with. Another thing that you guys are gonna wanna do before you move down here is prepare for our climate. Now, we do experience all 4 seasons, guys, and before you move down here, you might wanna recheck your wardrobe, and you might wanna up it a little bit if you have to. If not, you might wanna downgrade it if you got too much stuff, because really, layers are gonna be important here, because during like those warmer months, like now in the springtime, heading into the summertime, you can pack on layers, to be honest with you, because in the mornings, it's gonna be a little chilly, right? It's still that high desert climate to where temperatures drop at night, not severely during this time, but just enough to give you a little bit of a wind chill where you're cutting glass, right? And for you people who understand that reference, you know what I'm talking about. So really start thinking like, hey, is my wardrobe gonna be appropriate? You know, if I am moving from Montana and Idaho, somewhere up north where it gets super cold, even down to the east coast of New York, am I gonna be too much of a layered on? My big puffer down jacket, is it gonna be a lot? My Timbs, are they gonna, you know, go okay? And I gotta be honest with you, some of that stuff, yes, I don't recommend getting rid of all of it, but keep some of it, because there are gonna be those days where it does get super cold, and when that wind comes through, it just cuts you like a knife. So you're gonna hope and pray that you had a nice down jacket to keep you nice and warm. So in the fall time, guys, it's really gonna be that shorts and that hoodie thing that I always talk about. It's gonna be that signature style that I like to wear around that time, just because, hey, if I get too hot, I can take off my hoodie. And if I just get a little cold, but I kind of still wanna feel a little bit regulated, not wanna be super hot or super cold, still on a hoodie, and we're good to go. But outside of that, guys, nothing really crazy going on down here. I had a conversation with somebody and I told them, yeah, I mean, we don't have to deal with gators or hurricanes, so is that gonna be more than enough for you to move down here? And they said yes, and you can tell what state I'm talking about by that. Now, my favorite part, guys, the don'ts, right? Now, you're gonna wanna stick around to the end, because the last don't is gonna be a super cool one. Something that I would have never even thought about, but I gotta remind you guys that if you are planning on moving down here within the next 30, 60, or 90 days, that number popping up on the screen here is my direct line. And as much as I love doing these videos, I would love to help you out with your real estate needs. So feel free to hit me up. That way we can hop on that quick Zoom call and figure out what you shouldn't and should be doing, all in particular to your situation. But this first don't on this list is gonna be, don't underestimate the traffic here. We still experience it, guys, and sometimes if you get caught in a bad traffic jam because, right, the recipe is perfect, a wreck happened in an area where they're doing construction and it's down to one lane, it can take you a few hours just to get home. So really start to pay attention on your traffic routes if you are traveling in those peak hours, which is from 7 in the morning and then again at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The freeways are just gonna get congested. There's gonna be people all over the roads trying to get home, especially if you're traveling to the west side on the evenings. Just that sun glaring at you just because it's starting to set, especially in those winter months, is gonna be brutal. So keep your windshield clean, keep a pair of sunglasses around, and just really take your time and your distance with people, because sometimes they'll just come to an abrupt stop without really giving a warning. So be aware of all these things that's going on. Don't underestimate that, hey, since we don't have millions of people living here within our city, it's still gonna get congested because of the way our roadways are built. So something to think about, something to keep in the back of your mind, that you're really gonna wanna map out your travel, and especially on that call, we can get down to the nitty and gritty of the best ways for you to travel from home to work and vice versa. One thing that you're gonna wanna remember, and this is gonna be point number 2 when it comes down to things that you shouldn't do before you move down here, is gonna be just really not making a budget or plan around a budget, to really consider, you know, the outcome of all this. How much is it gonna cost? What's the cost of living down there? Is our job that we're gonna get down here, you know, going to be able to sustain a way of life? Are we gonna have to make some financial adjustments in order for it to make sense for us? Like, what does that look like, right? And again, we have the right resources for you to help you with that, so we can take everything as a whole and really make a plan around that next step in order to make home ownership a thing for you guys. Now, if you are planning on taking the route of renting and then trying to figure out where you're gonna wanna live, does this even make sense? Is Albuquerque a right fit for you? then we can still help with that as well, because you never know where it's going to take you. We have a ton of clients that have moved down here and decided to rent while this interest rate thing kind of like cools off, because they already kind of secured where they want to live. You know, they are antiquated with the areas. They have made sure that they are making the right decision, because hey, it's going to be a whole lot moving to a whole new place. You don't know anything, you don't know anybody, and if you are taking that first step of just renting and kind of filling things out, it's going to make everything else much easier. But if you are like me and you're just like, hey, I'm ready to move, I'm ready to purchase a place, I'm really ready to just take that next step and not look back, if we look at purchasing a home, right? That's also great to do, but do make sure that you are planning everything out. Don't go and do some unnecessary spending. If you are planning on moving down here, you are gonna have to buy new furniture, beds, and all this stuff for your house, and that stuff gets pretty expensive. So let's get to a quick call, talk about the budgets, really get on the call with the lender, make a plan around the whole thing to make sure that you're in the best position possible to purchase a house when you're ready. Topic number 3, guys, on the don'ts list. I almost said do's, but the don'ts list, number 3 is going to be really disregarding your outdoor safety, and not meaning anything crazy, but there's a saying that we like down here. It's keeping New Mexico wild. And what does that mean? It's really just kind of keeping everything the way that it's meant to be, the way Mother Nature intended it to be. And that means seeing little critters every now and then, right? If you live on the west side, you're gonna see coyotes, you're gonna see mountain lions from time to time, because they do make it their way to this side of town. Not very often, but if you are living in the mountain area, you are gonna see that, right? Black bears, mountain lions, bobcats, snakes, all that stuff is going to be down here, and you just want to be aware of that situation. You want to be aware of those things, especially if you're doing hiking, biking, or just out there in nature, because shoot, I ran into plenty of coyotes in many walks that I've done throughout my life down here in the west side. So being very vigilant and very aware of your situations. If you got to carry bear spray, do so, because you just don't know what little critter is just going to want to be curious to a human being and get super close to you guys. And also just kind of make sure that whatever situation that you're going to go and get into, you're being aware of those activities. Say you're going to go hiking, make sure to wear the proper gear, take the right tools with you, just because you don't ever want to find yourself in a bind, right? Because as much as I'd like to say that some of these trails are nice and safe, there is some trails here in New Mexico, even in Albuquerque alone, where it can get dangerous. So if it's your first time on a trail, really take your time. Don't try to go out there when it's super early and kind of icy, or when it's super dark, just because, man, there's going to be some trails out there that are going to be just for the experienced people. And by experience, I mean that you've been up and down these trails for a while and you know exactly where you're going. So again, just to wrap it all up, guys, don't neglect the fact that you really need to be aware of your surroundings when you are living down here, because New Mexico is still very wild in the aspect of animals and Mother Nature. Alrighty, guys, my favorite don't, and just like I let you know, this one here is just surprising that anybody would ever recommend doing this before you move down here, and that's don't do this alone, right? Don't feel like, hey, I'm moving to a new area, I can't talk to anybody, I don't know anybody. In this video alone, if you reach out, and again, that number popping up on the screen, guys, is my direct line, and feel free to reach out if you want to talk about anything Albuquerque or New Mexico related, because I want to make sure that you have somebody in your corner when you're moving down here and really experiencing everything anew, right? It's a brand new area, it's a brand new city, bunch of brand new people that I'm going to be able to meet, and I just want to make sure that I'm, preparing you guys in the right direction so you can be successful at this whole moving state to state thing. And for you more experienced movers, this might not be something new to you guys, but your real estate agent's going to be able to help you guys out with so much of this, that even down to finding an electrician, a plumber, a roofer, just a handyman to come and help you with some of the stuff that you wanted to get done and get fixed before you move into the house. So really make sure that you're making a connection with somebody down here. Use Instagram, use Facebook, use YouTube, right? Whatever resources that you have at hand that connects everybody within seconds, right? The internet. Use that to your best benefit to get as much information as you can, to get steered in the right direction, to make sure you're making all the right decisions before you head down here, guys. But that's gonna be enough for this video, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging tight. Go ahead and check out one of our videos over here before you get off. Subscribe to the channel. Shoot us a text if you are planning on moving down here this year. That way we can help you out as much as possible. But I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my night. You guys have yourself a great weekend. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.